first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the difference between 1688 and Alibaba. Now, a lot of people recommend using Alibaba, and the reason that they recommend using Alibaba is because Alibaba is in English. Now, the reason that it's in English is because it's all brokers that are targeting English-speaking buyers like you. Now, these brokers are the middlemen, so it can definitely be a disadvantage, but there are advantages to dealing with Alibaba. It's easier to communicate. They have a great trade assurance program where you can pay and then they'll make sure that you get your products. But typically, the downside is that it's much more expensive because you are going through brokers. Now, with 1688, typically what you'll find is that, first of all, is that it's all in Chinese. Secondly, it's large distributors or manufacturers who are posting, trying to target the brokers in China. And to communicate with these guys, you'll usually either be able to create a 1688 account, which is difficult for Americans, and chat through their system, or we recommend to chat through WeChat. WeChat is like the Facebook or Messenger of China. It's the largest social media platform. Everyone there uses it for everything. It's like a toolbox. You can pay with it, book rides, communicate. It translates for you. You can transfer files. It's just a fantastic tool. So WeChat is something that I definitely recommend you getting. The other part of 1688 is that payments can be challenging. There's a few solutions that I'll have there for you as well. And if you look into the comments below, we've got ping pong payments, and we've got a way for you to be able to pay with credit cards. Now, I don't recommend you start this business and put your business on a credit card. Some people recommend doing that. I don't recommend that. But there's a company called Plastique that allows you to transfer money to China basically through a credit card. Now, that could be really good because you can get credit card points when you pay that way. So that's a pretty neat trick. And then, so you've got some alternatives there. The other part is that it's a more accurate wholesale and direct pricing. And so if I were to show you a couple different products on Alibaba versus 1688, you're going to see the difference in a second. The tools that I recommend that you need to navigate 1688 are going to be, again, WeChat and then the Google Translate. Now, this is a Chrome extension, and it'll translate the entire page while you're browsing, which is fantastic. So let me walk you guys really quickly through an example of what I was looking at earlier. Now, in the first example that you saw in the previous video where I was showing you how we evaluate products, and if you haven't seen that one yet, you can click below in the description and go to it. I walk you through our methodology for looking at the data and analyzing a product. And we analyzed this product. It was a diaper caddy. It turned out not to be a very good product to do. It was very high risk, although it was very good opportunity as far as number of keywords. It's just not one I would recommend. But I want to stay consistent with the examples that we're giving. So this is the diaper caddy that we're looking at. So if you were to go to Amazon and search for diaper caddy, you would see all these felt carriers and stuff. So if I wanted to get an idea of how much this would cost me to source it from China, I would go first to Alibaba, like recommended by a lot of people out there that are teaching these gurus and courses and stuff. And I would have a very difficult time understanding what I'm actually going to pay for it. As you can see, the price range can be anywhere from $2.20 to $5.90, $2 to $4. You got many different styles. You've got many different like levels of quality, thicknesses, things like that. So you would have to order. You're going to have to order quite a few samples anyway. But you're going to have to reach out to all these people and start ordering samples, and hopefully they negotiate a good price for you. But like I said before, these are brokers. These prices are going to be significantly higher. So what you would do then is you would go to 1688, and now I need to know what to search for. That's a challenging part in and of itself. So what I've done is I've gone to translate.google.com, and I've looked for felt diaper carrier, translated that to the Chinese here. Now, look, I don't speak Chinese. I don't know how accurate this is, and sometimes it takes several tries to find the right translation because it's not always apples to apples, so to say. So you're going to want to like play with that and make sure you're getting the right results. But here are the results that we got when I first did it. I didn't think that this was accurate, but I just scrolled down a little bit and I started to see the actual diaper carrier. And you'll see that it's still all in Chinese. But like I said before, I've got a Chrome extension up here, Google Translate, and I'm going to hit translate this page. And then all of a sudden, everything is in English. And now I can read it. And you've got all these categories that they sell on. Now, 1688 is absolutely one of the most comprehensive websites that are out there as far as marketplaces. It is a wholesale marketplace, and they sell just about everything made in China there, so that without exaggeration. Now, another cool feature here is that if you hold your mouse over some of these pictures, you're going to get a orange button that pops up that says similar. Now, we don't want this purse version that's like pink. I mean, doesn't look quite like what we're trying to find, because I'm going to try to see if I can find the guy that's selling. Let's find one of the best sellers like this guy, or let's see. It seems like there's a round one. Let's see. We got, all right, $11.95. You'll see that the main image really matters here. You'll see 11,000 and baby for this empty one that takes up most of the picture. We'll talk about optimization another time in another call or something. But you could see that image really matters. The people that put things in the baskets probably sell better. Just looks better. Like here's your Amazon's Choice, and they've got some diapers and things. Just a little bit more visual, even though this is a cheaper looking caddy altogether. With it, just a nicer looking picture when it has stuff in it. But your average price point that I see people selling at are 15. You know, you got one here that's $20. They threw in some extra stuff, some bibs, and looks like some stroller straps or something. You know, they're trying to add extra value. So you got all these tricks going on. Like I said, this isn't a product that I would recommend doing, but people are selling this from anywhere, with the cheapest guy at $10 all the way through to $20. It looks like here's one for 12 that we're gonna try to find. We'll look for this basic one. So if you scroll down and you got, this looks really close, and then you do have that similar to. So let's click on the similar to so that we can get a whole page of results and we can start. Now, the first thing you'll notice also is that the price doesn't have a range. And the reason for that is because this is the real price. You can actually purchase this through 1688 if you have an account. It doesn't require contacting and negotiating. Again, I'm going to translate this page so that we can read it. But the other thing is that this price is in RMB, and you'll see you have quantity discounts as well, and you could just purchase this directly. I do recommend reaching out so that you can negotiate from here, though. You want packaging, customization, things like that. It can add to the price, but you can usually negotiate down as well. So what I want to do is I've got to translate what this is as far as a real price, because this is RMB, and right now if I look at, and I were to Google the current exchange rate, it's 7 Chinese yuan, which is RMB, to $1 US. So then, knowing that exchange rate, I can just pull up a calculator, right? And with a calculator, I can take a look at any of these prices here. Even one here that's 15 with like a more of a leather handle that's really different than what's out there. I'm looking at a price of $2.14. Now, super important that you guys keep in mind that you have to have some additional costs here. That doesn't mean that you're landing this for $2.14 and selling it for 12 or 15 bucks like everyone else is. This means that you're going to get it from the factory at $2.14. You probably have some additional packaging costs. You have some transit within China that you have to be aware of. You have, the transit, obviously the shipping to here in the US. So I've got a neat calculator I'll go through with you to help you figure out the best way to ship something and stuff like that a little bit later in the presentation as well. So right now that we know that this cost is about $2.14. And again, if we would go back to Alibaba, you'll see that the lowest price is like $2.20 to $5.90, $2 to $4. It just typically is just much higher, 3 to 3. This one has different pattern on the inside, but just a higher price altogether. Typically, I save anywhere from 20 to 40% on the product by shipping it or by sourcing it directly. So I hope that that's gold for you and saves you guys a lot of money. right there. But let's talk about some other things that'll help you guys out, because with regards to the way Amazon works, you need to understand that packaging matters, right? And first, to understand why packaging matters, you need to understand how Amazon calculates their fulfillment fees. And I did a quick cheat sheet here for you. I cut this directly from Amazon's website. If you were to search like FBA fees, Amazon FBA fees, then you might be able to find a website that has this chart on it. Now, it's important that you understand that a very large item, if it weighs more than a pound or 12 ounces, is going to be billed on has the potential to be billed on a volume weight versus actual weight. What they're going to do is always bill you on the higher of the two. So something very large but light, if it's over 12 ounces, could end up costing you a lot of money to fulfill, even though it's light, because they're going to calculate a volume weight. So the dimensional weight, or the volume weight, is going to be calculated by taking the length times the width times the height in inches. It's very important that you guys know that that's in inches, because oftentimes we'll get the dimensions from China in centimeters. You have to convert them, but they're going to take the length times the width times the height divided by 139, and that's going to give you the dimensional weight. I believe that's in ounces. Now, you go ahead and you look at Amazon is going to add weight for the packaging that they need to put the product into before they ship it as well. So the magic number for a lighter item is going to be 12 ounces. If you were to take that diaper caddy that weighs about 6 ounces and then add a really nice thick packaging or box, like a cardboard box that weighs 8 ounces, now you're at 14 ounces combined. Now they add 4 ounces and you're over a pound. You're at 18 ounces and 16 ounces a pound. And that's a real big problem, because now you're going to be subject to the dimensional weight, or that volume weight that we talked about. So that would make the fulfillment fee significantly higher than if you had kept it under 12 ounces combined with the packaging, where a small standard size would be. Now, if we look at what the different price points are, here's just so you guys know: small standard, you've got, longest side is 15 inches. A large standard is pretty much where you're at. You've got 18 inches by 14 by 8. Now, it's important that you understand that there is a longest second side and a longest shorter side too. If you ship something super flat, it's small standard size, as long as it's under 12 ounces total. So it means it needs to be on, under 8 ounces basically. And then you're going to end up paying $2.41 or $2.48 for that. Now, if it's a large standard size like we just talked about, you can pay $3.28, and that, roughly that range usually. Now, if it was subject to the dimensional weight we were talking about, then it goes way up, because I imagine that something like a diaper caddy, even if it's folded flat, is going to have a couple large sides, and it might end up coming in at 2 or 3 pounds, and now you're paying $4.76 or $5.26, and you're looking at a difference of $1.50 to $2 in fulfillment fees that you're losing to your competitors right off the bat. Now, the flip side of that is very true as well, and this is the reason that I'm bringing this up, is because whenever we're sourcing products and we're getting samples, I get the product in my hands and I look at how I can possibly package it lighter and smaller than my competition. I'll look at the packaging of the large brands and competitors who are trying to get into retail, and they'll have this heavy cardboard, a lot of empty space, and they're trying to make a retail packaging. Look, we're shipping online. You can make a small box that looks nice. You can still print on it, but for the most part, just get it to the person as light and cheap as possible, because every single inch or two that you add, or the larger the packaging, that's going to cost you more in the shipping from the factory to the port, from the port to the to FBA, to the fulfillment center at Amazon, and it's going to cost you more when they fulfill it as well. So you get charged 3 times on that extra weight, and it can significantly impact your profit margins. So knowing these fulfillment fees and how they're calculated is super important for you, and you need to understand how it works and how you can take advantage of it. Now, the next part of that is, how do you ship this product, and shipping considerations. The first part of that is that you've got air. You've got the ability to ship it by air, and typically that takes maybe 10 days to 14 days to leave and get checked in at Amazon. You've got fast boat. Now this is still arriving on a boat, but it's not going to come in its own container. Usually you have like a last mile delivery there of like DHL, UPS, FedEx, something like that. But it arrives at the port, and that takes 20 days on sea, and then maybe another 7 days, 5 to 7 days to get checked in at Amazon. So it can be very fast. Now you've got a container as an option as well. Now the containers are typically more than 30 days on sea. And then to get the container unpacked, you have to get an appointment at Amazon to get it checked in or get accepted and checked in. That's usually about 45 days from when it sails to when it's checked in at Amazon. So you've got a real big difference between how long your capital is tied up and how long it takes to get your product from China to Amazon's warehouse and ready to sell and checked in to sell on these three options. Now, obviously, the slower, the cheaper, right? So air costs you the most amount of money, and fast boat costs you quite a bit less, and then container costs you the least amount. Now, don't forget that you have that shipping within China. And another really big thing that people don't think about on a regular basis is, where is it going in the United States? So there are tricks that you can use to get it to go to certain fulfillment centers. There's softwares out there. There's different hacks that you can use, perhaps to allow Amazon to place it into the shipping center that's going to cost you the least amount of money to ship it to. For example, if you're shipping from China and you land it in Los Angeles, you don't want to have to then ship it all the way to New Jersey. All that extra shipping across the United States is going to significantly increase the cost of your shipping. So you want to make sure that you are putting it in a fulfillment center closest to the port that you landed at. Now, the other part is, how long is my capital tied up? A lot of people don't think about how quickly they can flip their capital in this business is a significant consideration for how quickly you can scale in this business. So you need to understand exactly which way you're going to ship and how it impacts your annualized ROI. And that's a really big term that I don't think a lot of people pay attention to. So as a bonus for this video, I've got a worksheet that we look at. Now, this isn't a super comprehensive worksheet that you would find, in the books for a Fortune 500 company, but it's good enough to understand a lot of your costs and the best, like how to make a decision which way to ship something. So I've got this sheet here, and I put the diaper caddy in here. I'm going to pretend we're selling it at that $12 price. We're not going to try to compete with that one guy selling at 10 bucks. We've got our cost way over here at 18 RMB. I figured, we were at, where were we at? If we go back, we can go back over here. We got 13 RMB, 15 RMB. I figured a few extra RMB for packaging and customization, things like that. It could be less. But now we've got an FBA fee of 328 after we calculate the fact that it's light and we're going to keep it under 12 ounces. It's not going to be flat enough to probably, 0.75 inches on the shortest side is really flat. It's probably not going to be flat enough to get that 248 fulfillment fee. But if you can manage to get it there, then you save even an additional 80 cents or so. And that's significant when you're talking about something that only has a profit, of a few dollars. That can really bump up your profit. So we talked about, okay, we've got our carton dimensions here. We've got the number of units that fit in that carton, and we've got our gross weight in kilograms of that carton. This is probably way too off, but I was just throwing this together so you can get an idea of how this works. And I'm going to, again, share this with you. There's a link below in the description get this sheet so you guys can use it. And really the value is this. We understand that we've got a turnaround time. This is assuming that we've got about 30 days at the factory for a lead time. That means we place our order, the factory's not ready to ship it for 30 days. That can be less. There's a lot of times when it's only 15 days. So you would need to adjust this for that scenario. So just know that right now it's set for 30 days. We're assuming, again, air is 30 days for the factory, 10 days for shipping, and this one is 30 days and 40 days. And you've got there. So what you're going to find is that you've got your annual profit, which is just a tool to figure out what your annualized ROI is. And what's interesting is that you're finding your best way to ship this is by air. Even though you're making the lowest ROI, you're able to flip your capital so much more often throughout the year that it has a higher annualized ROI to ship this by air versus keeping your capital tied up and shipping it by sea. And you've got your shipping costs here that are calculated based on these dimensional weights here. And you know, if you ship this by container, you're only paying 9 cents per piece. If you ship it by air, you're paying $1. So that's pretty significant that you're paying that much more to ship it, but it's still going to be more profitable throughout the year for you because you can flip it. So how you're shipping the product is a really big consideration. A lot of people just always try to go for the cheapest shipping, but it's not always right. Now, if you have so much capital, you don't know what to do with it, and you don't mind your capital being tied up, yeah, go ahead and ship it by container and, you know, have your stuff sitting in the sea and, you know, your capital out there tied up. That's not a big deal for you. You can make a little bit more money there on your money. So you've got a landed cost, you've got a profit, you've got a break-even price. Now this cash flow break-even, cash flow positive sale price is like if we were to try to liquidate this product, it basically tells us the lowest amount that we can sell this product and still have some kind of positive cash flow come in versus just destroying or liquidating or donating the product. Now, donation is a consideration you can make when trying to abandon a product. Likely, if you were to try to do diaper caddies with how competitive it is, you would need this column because you're going to end up probably liquidating the product. It's not a product I would recommend doing. But this just gives you an idea, like if I want to lower my price to not just break even, but to cash flow break even, just to get it out of inventory. And instead of paying that 15 cents to destroy it, I'll just sell it at $5.97 and blow it out type of thing. So that is calculated for you as well. But like I said, this is all in the sheet for you. And I wanted to just go over quickly the difference between, 1688, the difference between Alibaba, how you ship, how you package, how fees work, and take into consideration a lot of those things people don't think about. So I hope that I can save you guys some money on your fulfillment fees, your shipping, and your cost, your product cost. Now, we go into a lot more detail in this in our 5-hour masterclass that we have on finding profitable products. We source a few products, we talk about fulfillment fees, and we go through 1688 walkthroughs with some random products that we found. In addition to that, I've got the Inner Circle Mastermind in full course that won the seller poll prize for best course. The way that we structure that is much different than all the other courses that are out there. We do it like a college level course. So every single week I'm live face-to-face in video pretty much every Monday night. And you guys can ask anything. So I've got all the students in there participating and asking questions. And just by being a fly on the wall, you can learn quite a bit. Or if you have any questions, you can participate. And then every 2 to 3 weeks, we do a live class where we take a deep dive into a particular subject. Now, the reason that we keep doing live classes is because the content changes so often. Amazon is always changing what they're doing. So whether it's the way we source and the data we're looking at, or whether it's the way we're launching products and the way we're doing ManyChat and chat bots, which we teach in the class as well, and our PPC strategies, we have to constantly keep that stuff updated. As a seller, we're constantly launching products. I just got done launching about 25 products in the last 30 days. Next year, our goal is to launch, close to 200 products. So as we are always doing this and launching products, we're seeing what's working, what's not working, and we can be up to the minute and update you guys as to what is working and not working. I think that's a huge advantage for learning from us versus guys out there that are just not doing it right. They're just teaching recycled or old content, or it's just videos that are posted. So we try to be very interactive. We hold your hand, and like I said, I'll give you homework. I'll push you. I'll make sure that this is for you. Now, it's not for someone that hasn't made up their mind. If you've never learned Amazon FBA or private label before, I recommend starting with that masterclass. That's gonna answer a lot of your questions and let you know whether this business is right for you. How to look at the data and choose products in a very in-depth way, how to source them, and then what this business is all about. So I hope that this was helpful for you guys. Join me in my Facebook group. There's a lot of resources below, some discounts on some of the software you saw, some ways to pay, lots of great links. I've got some goodies in there for you, and I've got that worksheet that we just went over below as well, and a link to go download that. So I'm looking forward to hearing your comments. Reach out to me in the Facebook group or on Facebook, and I'll see you guys around. Take care.